la piel como besos en Ibiza. Besos en Ibiza. Besos en Ibiza. Cierra la puerta, acércate a mí, di la verdad, deja ya de mentir, bésame lento, ¿qué quieres tú de mí? Déjame ir al sur y tus labios besar, sé muy bien que eres tú, ¿quién será mi final? ¿Quién será mi final? Toda tu luz mata mi oscuridad, dejas afuera toda la realidad y me arrepiento, guárdate la verdad. Déjame ir al sur y tus labios besar, sé muy bien que eres tú, ¿quién será mi final? ¿Quién será mi final? ¿Quién será mi final? We always run to catch the moment. I can't stop praying. Nobody can stop me, I'm running. I'm only burning. You don't need holding. I'm only burning. Just enjoy the moment. Just enjoy the moment.
unbelievable. You know what? The Marines have killed them before they walk in. Be your champion.
That is it. GG has been called. DMC.
Last year, we set the stage for the biggest esports tournament in Brunei. A $25,000 prize pool and a spot to show who was the best PUBG team in Brunei. But this year, we're about to go bigger. Welcome to the 𝗪𝗶𝗶𝗥𝗶 Clash Series Season 1, where you will be given the chance to start your legacy as the first ever ACS champion. You wanted more games? You've got more games. PUBG, Valorant, and Mobile Legends Bang Bang. With 3 titles, we're looking for the next kings and queens of Brunei esports. This is your chance to show the whole of Brunei, no, the whole of Borneo, who's the champion, and a stake at a $27,500 prize pool. So what are you waiting for? A registration fee? I'll see you on the battlefield.
Yes, I've been back at it, on this music like a bad habit. I abuse it like a crack at it. I swoop the beat and take a crack at it.
Hey, what is up? Good morning and welcome to the League of Legends Wild Rift Community Clash Season 2. We're back after 1 year and we have some changes. We have a couch. We're not wearing shorts anymore. We're in full formal. Very excited.
It feels good.
It feels good. Very excited for what's coming up. I'm Husky alongside Contra as always. And we got to thank the people who made this possible with NOiZU, 𝗥𝗶𝗳𝗁, and ESB. Thank you very much for bringing the Wild Rift community together during this off season. I know we are all excited for icons, but this weekend we get some decent Wild Rift games as well.
That's right. Like, it's been like, what, a year already?
Yeah.
Like, other than the couch, like, our hair has grown.
Yeah, I walked in and the first remark I got was my hair is now long. I think if we get a season 3, I promise you it would be a waist length.
Gosh.
Or maybe a different color. The point is time has passed, but one thing remains is that our love for Wild Rift is still the same.
That's right, and I'm absolutely excited. We're going to get a lot of players in for a whole lot of runs of Wild Rift action for today. And not only is Malaysia involved, but also we have players from Brunei that will also be playing throughout the course of this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to give you guys a quick rundown of what's happening. So today, we'll just be looking at, from the Malaysia side, we get the semi-finals and the third and fourth and the bronze placing match. And tomorrow is where we get to see Malaysia and Brunei duke it out. The Malaysian finals, the Brunei finals, and finally a best of 5 for Malaysia versus Brunei. I think that this is going to be interesting because we hardly see the nation of Brunei playing. And this is one of the few times we get to see how they stand up to our players.
Yeah, and overall, like Brunei, they do have some amazing talents out there. We've seen from the SEA Games where they did participate in multiple titles out there. Maybe not so much that we've seen from Wild Rift, but I'm pretty sure that they have already got themselves really well trained up. And there's also people like you from the community who's aspiring to be a pro player. So this is where they shoot their shot, and I hope that we'll see something special today.
Yeah, and while we get the players ready up, just want to let you guys know the format. We get the 3 best of 3s today. Both the semi-finals and bronze placement match will be in a best of 3. The only best of 5 we get will be the Malaysia versus Brunei Grand Finals, which will be happening as the last series tomorrow, with icons approaching, with all of these changes that we had. Right now, I feel like we are in a really good spot for Wild Rift, right? I think we've seen a lot of creative plays on the international stage. I know the new patch is dropping very soon, but we got to talk about what to expect coming into this, because I did see some very familiar names that had played in the local WCS. I think Evolution is one of it. What's the name again? I think Evolution is one of the I can't remember the others. But the point is, we get some really experienced players coming in.
Yeah, and I think that this is where it's going to be special, where you have a little bit of a mixed bag. It's not only just the players that have played either in the WCS or even seasons prior to the WCS. We have a lot of all the other players that have participated in all these community cups before, and also a lot of new names out there. And, I'm liking what I'm seeing because we get a little bit of glimpse of the lobby. And
yeah, we do.
We're looking at ranks that are Grandmaster and beyond. So
Absolutely.
The community definitely has a lot of great things here to show to us on our very first game.
And if I remember correctly, other than Evolution, we have 𝗏𝗏𝗏, who is going to be playing. And if you guys don't know who 𝗏𝗏𝗏 is, just wait. He's going to show his rank 1 Vayne later.
Or can he?
Or can he, right? If it's not perma-ban. We also, I believe, have a former player from 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗁. I don't remember the name because I think he had an IGN change, but I can be at 99% sure he played on 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 before. So we get this, ex-WCS MYT players in this lobby already, which I think would make for a great series coming up. And now the question is, can their opponents stand up to it? Because so far, I think we have a very stacked team on one side.
It is, and I think like either side of the parties, they're already looking great overall as we're waiting for us to jump into the very first picks and bans. I really do wonder, since we talked about 𝗏𝗏𝗏's Vayne, and we've talked about whether if that will be left available, I'm pretty sure during that off-season, 𝗏𝗏𝗏 has already prepared a whole plethora of other ADCs that he could possibly use.
Yeah.
Now, I want to see what's on the challenging side. So the challengers against this really stacked roster.
Yeah, if I remember, recently 𝗏𝗄 posted a screenshot of him going 22-0 on Tristana, you know, just to welcome the incoming Tristana buffs. So I think that's something that he has shown. But Tristana was also a champion that I think he always defaults to whenever his vayne gets banned, which is 99% of the time. So that's something that, you know, our top local ADC can always fall back to, despite all the flag that sometimes he gets, right? In a competitive setting, yeah, sure, you know, he is the #1 player on the solo ladder, but in the competitive setting, there's a lot for him to catch up on, and maybe this is the stage for him to show himself.
That's right. I believe that everybody has to start from somewhere, and 𝗏𝗄 used to start from ground zero as well. Though he has already made his name, he's still here, really spending time with the community and, you know, just flexing how well he could possibly play. Now, I want to also take a look at what other champions will be picked up heading into this very first game, because I'm expecting things like Irelia to still be very relevant. And I've been seeing a whole lot Evelynn jungle in some of these recent games, but that could be ranked. I'm not too sure when it comes down to competitive.
Yeah.
Will it be shown today?
Well, if you have any intention to play Evelynn jungle, do it now before the next patch, because apparently she will be unplayable. I mean, based on the stats itself, right? I think SSK has discussed that on Twitter, that he says that I don't think even I can make Evelynn work. And just looking at the nerfs that is coming through, I think in the next week, it seems to be a big possibility that Evelynn jungle would fall off. So if anyone wants to play Evelynn jungle, this is your chance. Savor the last few days before Riot drops the nerf hammer. We are still waiting for one last player to show up. You know, just a bit of it gives us more room to discuss, right? So other than the unorthodox picks like Evelynn, there's one pick that I think is gonna show up a bit more. Starting next week, which would be Wukong. I think Wukong always has this very iffy value where he becomes a spin bot way too fast and he loses his effectiveness towards the later stages of the game.
I'm honestly not the biggest of fan of Wukong. Like,
I played a couple of times, but
sure,
only if
early game is like slight lane bully, but depending on the matchup as well, you put him in the jungle, he's just gonna farm till he's 5 and you don't get no ganks going.
Only if I see a Yasuo on my team. Like if someone force picks a Yasuo, then I'll like,
You're
okay.
that kind of player.
Yeah, then I'll kind of play Wukong. You know, but even then,
and your Yasuo goes 0-15.
and I go 0-15 because I'm useless as a Wukong, right? It's a champion problem. But to be honest, I think one of the champions that I really want to see is a Riven jungle, because I think Riven jungle is S tier. I honestly think Riven jungle is one of the best jungles we have up to this point. People look at Kha'Zix, people look at Lee Sin, but I think we are sleeping on Riven jungle a bit too much, because I've been playing a lot of Riven jungle, and I think she is just one of the best scaling junglers that we have in the game right now.
I would absolutely agree that when we look at all these buffs as well as nerf, Riven hasn't really been touched that much in some of all these patches, and she remains to have a decent ratio of win rates overall when it comes down to, you know, the charts and stuff. But when we look back into the other lanes, I guess this is going to be a really good flex pick overall. Like, what's really going to be the bane of picking that Riven in jungle, though? Is there any sort of hard counters that you face throughout your jungling experience?
Probably not. I think Xin Zhao is a bit annoying. I think
Olaf?
Olaf is one of it early on, but as the game progresses, I think you will do just fine because you skill well. But with that being said, we're going to hold this discussion for a while. You know, we got a lot of things to share, but as we wait for that to happen, we're going to send you guys off on a short break, and we will come back for more Wild Rift games.
Be your champion.
And it's it. GG has been called. DMC.
Last year, we set the stage for the biggest esports tournament in Brunei. A $25,000 prize pool and a SWAT to show who was the best PUBG team in Brunei. But this year, we're about to go bigger. Welcome to the 𝗪𝗶𝗶𝗥𝗶𝗳𝗁 Clash Series Season 1, where you will be given the chance to start your legacy as the first ever ACS champion. You wanted more games? You've got more games. PUBG, Valorant, and Mobile Legends Bang Bang. With 3 titles, we're looking for the next kings and queens of Brunei esports. This is your chance to show the whole of Brunei, no, the whole of Borneo, who's the champion, and a stake at a $27,500 prize pool. So what are you waiting for? A registration fee? I'll see you on the battlefield.
Yes, I've been back at it. On this music like a bad habit. I abuse it like a crack at it. I swoop the beat and take a crack at it.
We're back for the League of Legends Wild Rift Community Clash Season 2. Masky alongside me is Contra. We're back from a short commercial break. And you know what that means? The game is ready. We're going to jump into the draft in just a bit. This is where we come full circle with all the discussions that we had just now, the players that are going to be playing, the picks that we are going to see, and this is it. Draft for Game 1 in the semifinals.
Yeah, and I am already liking what I'm seeing right now, as we have a couple of all these champions already being hovered on the ban list. So that's a lot of support that is being banned out if they were ever going to be locking those in. So it's going to be pretty interesting. And lo and behold, I see that Vayne at the bottom.
Yeah, I have to ban the Vayne.
It's going to be out.
So 3 enchanted supports ban out from the side, from the blue side at least. And I think, coming into this, I want to see, well, in fact, there's 3 no bans from the red side. So this gives so much open champions that blue side can go for, right? I'm looking at the Kha'Zix, I'm looking at the Xin Zhao, something like a Flex, a Camille also could be a decent choice, but they first picked the Senna.
That's pretty interesting. It's really not too telling of what they really want to do with the Senna, whether you want to make it your main staple AD or even at the support role. She's been really fine pick in the competitive scene. And when we take a look at the red side, we got the Jace as well as the Singe combo coming in. Now the question is, who's going mid, who's going top? Because we've seen a lot of Singe in the mid lane, especially during the WCS Southeast Asia Finals, and it's gonna run rampant. And if you're gonna go for assassins, you just do nothing against him.
Yeah, and the Jace can also be flexed into the jungle, right? So you have this very versatile opener from the red side. In fact, one of our good friends, Odo Luz, from the Philippines, he plays Singe and Rammus all the way to Grandmaster.
Wow.
Yeah, I checked.
That's dedication.
Yeah, like Singe, understandable, but somehow he makes Rammus work. So he goes like Thornmail, Wit's End, and then he just builds full armor, and he makes it work. So I
Two-trick pony.
This guy is something else. Like he hits Masters, I hit Master, and he was like, a few days later he sends me a screenshot, and he was like, I'm at Grandmaster now.
What if I'm gonna try something new? I'll take Soraka. I'll try to bring it to Masters.
I think Soraka has
its own way.
It's not the worst. We get Diana and Lucian out. Now you kind of see the draft falling into place, right? Because Diana is probably going to be mid. Means you get a Jace jungle and a Singe top. So Lucian, Coffee is going to be on Lucian. The question is who is going to be the support. I'm thinking of a Nami, the last remaining enchanter for that red side.
I think they heard you, Husky. Like, you said a lot about Wukong, and they're picking up the Wukong now. I see a lot of knockups here. The only thing that's missing right now is that Yasuo, right?
Yeah.
And it wasn't really banned. It could have actually fit in there perfectly, but I think what they have, they could definitely make do. So heavy crowd control, they're calling in for team fights. And I'm looking at a really well-balanced composition here, especially when they have that Nami, just to ensure that you hit that tidal wave to hold everybody else back. So things are looking pretty solid, and it's time for us to head in right into the rift.
Yeah, I'm excited for this, right? Also for those who are wondering, like, who are these guys? So on the blue side we have Team Underage, and on the red side with Team Have Fun. It's always fun when you have a rank 1 ADC with you. But yeah, so we get the Wukong Senna bot and a Senna set bot. I would be surprised if we get Senna Gragas bot. What am I talking about? I would be surprised if we get a Wukong bot at some point. But looking at this, I feel like for red side, for Team Have Fun, they definitely have this very strong skirmishing lineup. But I do agree, Underage, they have this huge team fight. They have great disengage. In case Diana and Cinch wants to jump in, you can always take them and knock them away.
Yeah, and I think that it's a very versatile composition. And bear in mind, Team Underage, if they hit into the late game, they have a lot of good advantages. You have an ultra scaling Senna and heavy card control. It's so hard to actually pinpoint who should you actually focus on. You don't really want to go for that set, and you clearly can't take off a Gragas or even a Xin Zhao if he's gonna be fed enough. So just for fun, they gotta hit hard, they gotta hit fast.
Yeah, and the best thing about Underage right now is that Team Underage is that they have the ultimate counter to a Diana. We call it the exhaust button, and they have two of them. They have a Senna with the exhaust. The set also runs the exhaust as well. We get the Wukong into Diana mid. That's one of the few matchups that we don't normally see. What do you think of that one?
Well, I definitely think that it's going to be pretty rough for this Diana to actually get things done later on, especially in team fights. So it's going to be a little bit more devastating, but he's been playing extremely aggressive. He's just looking for those sort of leads. So if he can actually get a few pickups in the early game, it shouldn't be too much of a problem for her to snowball into a monster. And by then, sure, you get an exhauster, but there's going to be other teammates that's going to hit like a truck.
Let's look at the proactivity for both junglers. So Jace, Xin Zhao, I'm expecting Xin Zhao to make that early move, and it seems like that might be the case. Did try to show up top, but the Singe was able to get away. In fact, we get a bit of scuffle in the river as well, forcing 𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗁 to flash, and that means he's probably not going to get the blue buff that quickly. They lose the Scuttle Crab and river control over to the Jace. So far, the team Have Fun having a great start.
Yeah, I felt like that was quite a knee-jerk reaction because like there was a little bit of challenge into the blue buff, and that the buff was running away.
Yeah,
and I saw that smite go down. It's not gonna really result too much, but here we go. First blood for Team Underage.
Yeah, we see the flash body slam catching that Nami off guard and even forcing out. So we get all summoner spells used on the bottom side. 𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗁 showing up, but unfortunately doesn't really have the health to deal with the Diana, though. The mid gap just follows and tails him and gets that free kill with the ignite. And they get kind of widening that jungle gap. You give this Jay so much more space. He's 2 levels up to Xin Zhao right now.
It's so hard for him to really think of where to get resources other than his own jungle. And I don't even think ganking a Cinch is going to be the way to go. Sure, that is Diana might look a little bit juicy, but this Wukong wouldn't really have the easiest of time. Look at that. That's 1 hit, and he's not even doing damage.
And gotta proc the Conqueror. So one of the good things about Wukong is that the passive in WoW will just allow you to do that extra damage in those long drawn battles. But against a Diana, it's not as easy as it seems. And to make matters worse, for Team Have Fun, they get both Scuttle Crab. I believe that was what 𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗁 was going for. Bottom Scuttle Crab gets caught up, gets his movements read, and now he is in full eco mode. The saving grace is that bottom lane got that first blood, but aside from that, I do think it favors Team Have Fun a bit more.
Yeah, and so far, early game's looking pretty clear, but here we go. A big pickup, putting 𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗁 back on track.
Yeah, exactly what you need to do. Cinch is not completely immune to ganks. Instead, one of the best champions to do so. Doesn't even have to expend any summoner spells from the side of Team Underage. They have the Moonfall in the mid lane and devastated, completely destroyed. Another kill for the Diana. There's a lot of pressure down mid. That means the Team Have Fun gets full control of that bot side jungle. Although they still do see Team Underage rotate mid, but it's a bit too late. They've already, they won't be able to catch up with both the Diana and the Jace. Seems like it's going to be a rotation down bot.
Yeah, it's going to be a clear-cut answer, but there we go.
Either way, It'll be an engage straight with explosive cast and the exhaust. Dawning Shadow used, but unfortunately they just don't have enough damage. 𝗪𝗶𝗪𝗁 shows up, takes the hammer in the face, ends up going down. The root does connect. Can the Wukong arrive in time though? Fortunately, no. Doesn't have the Cyclone, doesn't use the flash. So Team Have Fun gets away with with one free kill.
Yeah, and this is looking pretty massive for most of the players of Just For Fun. And you can see that they've already had their eyes all locked towards the bot lane. Though the only good thing about that for Team Underage is that their turrets are still intact, and they've been able to hold up just fine. Because if they were to have the majority of them falter from that point onwards, like, it could easily lead up to a chain reaction of snowball. You break open that turret, then you can easily open up that map, secure whatever objectives coming up in 10 seconds.
And just looking at the items, we see Ryla's Crystal Scepter up for Sin's, triple Black Cleaver is going to be the case for Team Underage. Xin Zhao set and Wukong all going for the same openers. You give this very bulky front line that allows them to have all these engage or disengage, these displacement spells. Despite having all this combo, I am a bit worried about the damage department. The Senna is not really the biggest damage dealer right now.
Yeah, just a little bit annoying to deal with when it comes down to the laning phase. But here we go, a little bit of challenge coming into the Herald Pit. As the rest of Just For Fun, they have already arrived at the scene. Let's see if there's going to be big challenges coming up ahead.
Yeah, Mega D-Save, get a minor fling, takes the Rift Herald away, explosive cast and disengage, and use the Crescent Sweep as well. Cyclone thrown out, all the ultimate unloaded from the side of Team Underage, but they just do not have the damage, and that means it's easy cleanup for Coffee, a double, a triple for this Lucian, 4 from the side of Team Have Fun, and they walk away with the Rift Herald.
Well, Echo is probably yelling like, "Are you guys okay? K. You get the joke, right?
Apparently not. Yes,
He's
I
all the way
get the
down.
joke. But his team was not okay. And that was the first the first display that we saw, right? You have all of these ultimates, but where's the damage? No damage from the side of Team Underage. I'll say insufficient output. And
Yeah.
you kind of get, and we also see how this Nami was able to provide so much utility, right? One tidal wave completely disengages the fight. The Team Have Fun now having a substantial lead, 6,000 gold advantage.
6,000 gold within 6 minutes, and you saw that was just a couple of chain combos coming out. It wasn't really full-blown 5v5 because we see half commitment coming out of Underage as well, where it's just a herald. It's either you make a clean decision, whether to take it or leave it, and now they have to do it this once again, where Just For Fun, they're already at it. They're going to walk away with 2 major objectives easily.
Yeah. And for Team Underage, you know, they rely on those ultimates to take fights, and without those crucial skills, it seems like they can't get anything done, and that was exactly the case, right? We see this rotation down bot from Team Have Fun. Right over the wall is going to be the Jace Flash, knockback, gets knocked out by the 3 Talent Strike, but they came here for the turret, and they will get it.
Well, the Cavalry has arrived though, as they're looking to try their best to get a little bit of trade done. Explosive casts have already been dropped down, but we won't be able to get all too much, but here comes their recommitment.
Re-engage again, Moonfall hitting on the 2, followed by a Tidal Wave and a Shock Blast. They use the Showstopper into a Haymaker, but again, there's just no damage from Team Underage, and they get overwhelmed. 1 for the Jace, 1 for the Diana. Team Have Fun walks away with 2 more kills.
It's so clean. Just look at them going at it like clockwork now. It's going to be late for scrim. A typical Singe that will just run him down, but he's still not really showing signs of concern. He's like, yeah, I feel like going under the turret if I can. But he's a little too low, huh?
Yeah, I think he would do it. You know, he did expend the Ignite. The only reason that Devastator survived was because he had the barrier. Wonder if the Singe had the Proto Belt. I think that would be kind of one of the few engaged tools that the Team Have Fun can rely on, but we're looking at 11,000 goldie just off of that one bot lane exchange. Is there any contingency plans that Team Underage can go for?
I feel like it's hard to concoct any sort of plans here, contingency or not, because you take a look at the draft. It takes a lot for you to get those big items out there. Like, you're thinking about Divine Sun here for a bunch of these guys, if it's ever the case, if they have the money. We'd like to take a look at the item bar whenever we could, and okay, at least it's not as bad as I thought.
Definitely not, right? We get the Gragas who can't frontline with the Sunfire, and that's one of the main issues with the damage. You know, the Wukong is going into the Randuin. Divine Sunder will be the next item for the set, but that's pretty much it. Stormrazor, Kraken Slayer, Senna, but she still takes a long time, so they get that Face Breaker in, but it's gonna force out the ultimate and the Haymaker exhaust, a flash in, knocked away by the Jace, and that means they get the pincer up from the entire team. Have fun. They already lost the set, and the the tidal wave just comes right through, and this is going to be another team fight win for the side of Team Have Fun. They wipe out Team Underage in under 10 minutes.
Wow. And A's coming out here, and they don't even need to wait for things like Barons. Like, this is just the second Herald, and they're already knocking down Tier 2. So I don't think that there's really much left, and look at the levels. This is just them screaming, yeah, this is not a challenge for just for fun.
Yeah, this feels like this fight wasn't, this game so far, I felt like it wasn't even close. And we see this disjointed engage from Team Underage. You know, they get the right idea, they found a pick onto 𝗏𝗄, but that guy, he had exhaust, he had his sums, and you know, Evolution was there with him. Unfortunately, the rest of Team Underage couldn't catch up. And now it's desperation mode. They're sending the whole cavalry. They want to take out this stage, at least get something in return, stop this split push. But can they do it in time before the rest of the reinforcements arrive? They have to send a Shroud, but this stage is buying so much time, and that means that backup reaches in time. And it's a punctuality that allows Team Have Fun to get a couple more cleanups. The Sage walks away with his life, and in return, they get 4 kills, a double for 𝗏𝗄.
Husky, remember what we talked about rules in League of Legends?
Do not chase the Singe.
That's rule number 1.
Rule number 1, do not chase Singe.
Yeah, and I think like they didn't really get the memo right there, but then again, I think at least they were trying to actually get those numbers back. Here comes Shelly coming down over the bomb inhibitor, and there's not much that the set can possibly hold back with. But can he actually get the face breaker in?
Another engaged presence sweep, but he just take the hammer in the face. And you do not get on. You do not try to go onto 𝗏𝗄, without a proper plan, because 𝗏𝗄 is now going to show you what he's made of. A double kill already for his Lucian. He's gonna go for more, a triple for 𝗏𝗄. No Penta this time, but it doesn't matter. He still gets the quad, and it's gonna be Team Have Fun walking away with game 1 for sure. Nothing else that Team Underage can do.
That is absolutely clean. I just love the way how these guys are playing, and there's just no way that they could possibly drop this game with 20k goal in their back. Like, honestly, when we take a look at Team Underage, I think like there were moments of brilliance in the early game, but eventually when it comes down to 5v5s, like, they just have to give it to them, because these guys, they look too coordinated. White flag's gonna be out.
And for the side of Team Underage, right, someone has to force this fight, and they have so many ways to do so. The Gragas, the Wukong, but it felt like they were never really starting those fights, in tandem, right? There's always this disjointment of skill usage, as they're gonna lose 2 more in mid lane. 𝗏𝗄 gets 1, Jace gets the other. Showstopper bringing that stage underneath the turret. They finally get rid of him, but it might be a bit too little, too late, because the rest of Team Have Fun, they're crashing down mid.
Well, I guess you're not wrong. He's gonna be late for scrims anyway, so. But today he's actually pretty early in the morning.
Gotta speed run this.
Gonna be looking at the Nexus, but there's no minutes yet for the rest of Just for Fun, so they will have to wait for the second coming. And I think it's about time we get to the Baron.
Yeah, Baron just spawned. Let's see what Team Have Fun have in mind. They're not gonna take the risk. There's no need to take the 50-50. They have this game pretty much in the bag, and they actually have vision of where Team Underage are at right now. This 5-man platoon going straight for the Baron. They want to force this right now, and it might be their best chance to come back into the game. But TPs are being channeled from the members of Team Have Fun. This Jace is right there. The face breaker misses. Tidal wave coming through the back line, and 𝗏𝗄 just goes in for the assassination, takes out the Senna, exhausted, but it doesn't really matter, because 𝗏𝗄 wants his Penta, and he's already gotten 2 in place. Flashes for the 3rd. Budget Bangi runs away, but 𝗏𝗄, well, try to chase him down, gets the quad. And the last remaining member is HCY, but he's a bit too far. And knowing Team F1, they're probably not going to give Coffee the Penta, or else he's going to post another screenshot on Facebook. Whoa, they're actually going to give him. So Coffee gets the first Penta kill of our tournament on a very first game of the day.
Coffee. First game here. And my goodness, we're already opening up with a pentakill. The ceiling can't be set any higher.
And welcome to Season 2 of WRCC. This is peak Wild Rift here in the community level. We wanted to see, we saw Coffee, we expect him to perform, but to give us a penta send-off for game number 1 in such a dominating fashion is kind of impressive. Well, it's super impressive.
Extremely impressive. Look at the scores. 1909. And I said like what? Set the what on the ceiling? I'm supposed to say set the bar up high instead of set the ceiling. Because I mean ceiling's already built, right?
Yeah, well the
I definitely woke up by the end.
Yeah, the sky's the limit,
Yeah.
Like after seeing that, this is how you start a game. If you guys are on Facebook, if you guys are in a community group, just wait for the screenshot.
Wow.
Coffee is gonna post that screenshot, be like first penna of the tournament. But
Do it, Coffee. Go Victor.
Go Victor, post that screenshot. But that means that they are now one game away from their grand finals spot, where they not only get to take a break afterwards, but they also get to prepare to see who the opponents are going to be tomorrow from the Brunei side. And so far, I think that Team Have Fun are just leaps and bounds ahead of Team Underage.
Yeah, just have fun. Just look at the way that they move around in tandem, and it definitely shows that there's really strong bonds of chemistry between the teammates, and of course individual prowess on top of it all, where you saw how they juggled with the pressure whenever they were put in certain sticky scenarios, and they kept up with the pressure with all those jungle invades, and that set the Xin Zhao back a little bit, and he tried to regain his lead by taking down the Singe. After that, things went topsy-turvy from that fight on that Rift Herald onwards, and after that, it was downhill.
Yeah, it could never get a fight off, could never really use all of their skills together. The Rift Herald fight was one of the litmus tests to show us how this composition works. Is there enough damage? There's enough crowd control. They do need to use all their skills together, but we never really saw that happen because of that Nami tidal wave, right? The huge disengage coming through from the side of Team Have Fun. And with that being said, right now, if you're Team Underage, what is the adjustment that they need to make?
Well, I think that they have to play something that they're going to be a little bit more comfortable with. Like, I think that there's going to be a few switches that will be done in this upcoming game. Like, one problem that I did identify is that they're kind of like the super late bloomers, right? And then if that early game's going to hit you hard, there's no chance you're going to get your items out. And I want to see a little bit more proactivity, not only from the jungler, because he's being put into a dire situation. I want to see the support go for a little bit more roams. That will actually supplement to whatever they've been doing in that early game, because they look like they could actually hold a fight when it comes down to the laning phase. After laning phase, it's a different story. So a little bit goes a long way.
Yeah, and that means that for Team Underage, they might have to sack the center bot lane, right? If you want to have
they might even need to sack that Wukong.
Yeah, you have to have a roaming support, gotta sack the center. In fact, this is where I want to bring out the ultimate pick in Wild Rift. The one that is in the center of the universe, the one that we call Garen.
Oh, I thought when you say the center of the universe, you got an Aurelion Sol floating somewhere in between, that grand idea of yours. Because that's what I was thinking, but obviously it doesn't really fit to the composition right now.
Yeah.
So, okay, Garen. Has he been as much of a nuisance as we last saw back in the WCS? I think he's still pretty solid. I
think he is, right? Well, in solo queue, no one picks Garen for some reason.
He's still punishable, though.
It's definitely punishable. Like, no one picks Garen. In fact, what I found out is that no one picks Garen, no one picks Camille, which are probably one of the few biggest picks competitively. But in this case, I think maybe Garen would be a champion that they can consider, right? Because you have this execute damage, you have this guaranteed front line that can build tank and still have decent output. You have this guaranteed lane that neutralizes itself.
Yeah, and if you're not going to go for the Garen, you want something flashier, yeah, take that Darius. You can still break wall someone, just go full tank, and you still have enough damage to poke out. So I think what we're looking for here is ease of execution, which we see slight glimpse of it back in game 1, but it got a little bit too tricky. So we go through some of these bans and we see the Camille being removed this time around, and definitely we're not going to be seeing Vayne, a couple of all these supports, Karma, Yuumi, Lulu. It feels like they just really want to negate any sort of good picks coming over to the hands of Evolution.
Yeah, and first of all, they started off by stealing the Nami away. They take the Shen for themselves. The team Underage still have the intention to play this huge team fight lineup. But what I want to see is, well, I intended to see the Varus Thresh, but now with the Nami picked up, we won't see the Thresh at all. But for Team Have Fun, it seems like they have something, something else in the mind. Lee Sin, Akshan being the next 2 picks.
Okay, double marksman, 2 fighters that we're looking at here. Who goes where? Okay, we switch the Akshan over, and I'm thinking that this is going to be headed towards... Is it going to be a bottom lane of Veigar? I've been seeing that a couple of times, and trust me, it does work. It's tricky back in level 1, but if you hit level 3 onwards, you just gotta find ways to get out of that ring.
Wait, who gets paired up with Veigar bot? Like, what would be the ideal support?
You know what would be fun? Akshan. Okay, scratch that.
Scratch that. We get a Braum, Lucian
Mid
Braum
lane
bot.
Veigar, a little vanilla. I don't mind it.
Mid lane Veigar, we get Akshan up top. Irelia and Ezreal will be the choice for Team Underage, and now they have the Olaf jungle. That is what I want to see. The slight problem with Olaf jungle, right? Like, people look at Veigar, they're like, yeah, this guy, he has the event horizon, very annoying to deal with, this AoE stun. I'm Olaf, I press Ragnarok, I run through it, but the problem is his ultimate kills you in one shot. So 𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪 has to be really careful when he tries to run at that Veigar.
Well, then again, like, the damage only increases if you do have a lot of AP, so ideally you don't really want to throw it to an Olaf anyways. Like, there's threats like the Irelia, the Ezreal, which is easier to execute in a certain sense. So I'm pretty sure that they're going to find ways to be able to navigate their way through this Olaf, because take a look at their backlines, looking pretty solid as well. So they should have enough damage to poke with this double marksman. All they have to do, kite a little bit, and they should be fine.
We actually see Coffee on the Veigar, so it's a mid Lucian, it's a top Akshan, unless they go for a role switch, which I think is... Well, Coffee could go mid on that Veigar. I don't know, we'll see, we'll find out. Game number 2 of the semifinals, Team Underage against Team Have Fun. I have my eyes on the Olaf jungle for sure. I think the Olaf can definitely make or break this game for the team, but you gotta get off to a good start, and that's what the entire lineup was made for. Late game scaling though, it's gonna be pretty scary with the Irelia around.
Yeah, and I've thought about a lot of all these combos, and indeed we are seeing Coffee going bottom lane with this Veigar, and now imagine this. You put those stacks on from this Braum, yeah, and this Veigar tries to right click you a little bit. He gets a little bit more AP, he gets all those sort of things done. And then, like, stuns, the meteorite, everything falls into place. But Echo, he's getting bullied out by this Akshan. Yeah. And they're only level 1.
Kraken Slayer, Akshan, I mean, it's a race to melee matchup. That's first blood. He just walks up, kills Echo. And Echo knows that, no, he's not going anywhere. And that means that this top lane is going to be sacked very early on. That might call for 𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪 to make that early rotation, but we have some scuffle down mid as well, This, again, another range into melee matchup, mid gap, having a decent time against the Irelia.
Yeah, overall, just having a little bit of push and shove. Irelia can't really do all too much in the early levels so long as she doesn't really have that Vanguard's edge. Now, I just really want to take a look at how he handles this. That's another kill going over.
they get a gank, and they get a kill. And Echo actually flash exhaust, gets a kill up top. Was able to at least balance things out, get a bit of revenge early on, but that means the Lee Sin actually shows up top, forcing the flash from Echo. Echo gets away. The team have fun. Team underage, in fact, is bringing the fight to Team Have Fun, and that's what we want to see, right? A bit more proactivity, a bit more ease of execution. So far, they haven't been needing to enlist the help of this Olaf, but Bartley might be in danger though. 𝗏𝗄𝗧 getting gone on, drops the event horizon. The Olaf shows up, but unfortunately, his prey is undeterred.
Yeah, and I love the hiding sense on this deadly dual evolution as well as 𝗏𝗄𝗧. They understood once that bubble lands, sure, they want to back off. They didn't really burn all those summoner spells. And now with the Olaf, here comes another bubble, and they will pick one up. 𝗏𝗄𝗧 is in trouble, flashes away, but not going to be deterred. 𝗪𝗶𝗪𝗁 gets the double.
Ends up going down to the turret aggro. Bit unfortunate right there. You see the culling forced out by mid-gap. Oh, the forced away actually misses from Devastated. So a bit unlucky from Team Underage, but at least they get some trace down bot. They get this Olaf ahead. I think that's the most important part.
And I love that these two teams, they're going tit for tat. Like, it's looking much better now. They finally found the right ideas. Okay, since they're going to be trying things out with this Vega, it's so punishable. So, most often than not, you see Braum getting paired with ADCs because you can fully utilize some of all these passive stacks. Veigar doesn't really offer that. So, he's also not having mobility, but here comes the Scribes.
Late Surge, another flawless win miss, gets Vanguard it up. And that's the dead Akshan. No way out, doesn't find an angle for the heroic swing. And this is what you want to see. Get this Irelia ahead, get this Olaf ahead, fight for objectives at that 5 minute. So far things going pretty well for the side of Team Underage. They're not facing this stark goal difference, at this point in time by back in game 1, and in fact they're getting some structural damage up top.
Yeah, and so far things have been working out for them. If they really do get their hands on the Rift Herald, I think that they could really get a little bit more room for themselves, get those goals down, since first streak's not up yet, but it's gonna be them in trouble. HCY will have no way out.
Yeah, Nami goes down, Glacial Fissure actually connecting on the Ezreal, so a double kill for the Lee Sin. 𝗏𝗄𝗧 was able to scurry away with the ghost. That means they get to at least get a plating off of this bot tier 1, get that reset off, and prep for the next objective. And the Ocean Drake will be the first one to come. 𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪, he is on the top river, but they do have a ward up there. So this Lucian should be very safe. First turret goes over to Team Have Fun.
Yeah, so far ASD has been doing such a good work throughout the course of the battle, even from the past game itself, just being extremely proactive, knowing when exactly to come in for that perfect gank. And I think they've been able to reap quite a significant amount of rewards. 3 kills already in the span of less than 5 minutes, and you would expect him to hit over the top side to do some work too.
So game stage is going to slow down for a bit. We see how both teams have the objectives that they want to secure. For Team Have Fun, it's going to be the Rift Herald. They want to keep that map pressure in their favor. But for Team Underage, they were thinking about the Ocean Drake, but unfortunately they can't really get on top of that objective as easily as they would have wanted. In fact, they did send Devastated to the Rift Herald pit. They see this Lee Sin. They gotta deal with Evolution and 𝗏𝗄𝗧 first though, forcing Evolution back, forcing that shield out. Attempted steal at the Rift Herald pit doesn't go the way of this Irelia, but he did get the exhaust on that Lee Sin. The heal comes through just in time. The Lee Sin still goes down, clipped by the Vanguard's edge, but still they get the Rift Herald for themselves. The Lucian shows up mid-gap, piling some damage in. 𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪 wants to get something done. The Tidal Wave connects on that Evolution and 𝗏𝗄𝗧, but no follow-up from Team Have Fun.
But that was a really good 1-for-1 though. You saw how they've traded Devastated. They didn't really have to flash for it, clipped him down the edge of it, and the rest of the team didn't really have to commit. Now, it seemed like Underage, they really want to get everything going for them, but they will lose that Ezreal up mid though. Same could be said about the Shen much early on, but now the Dragon's up for grab once more.
And without the Shen, it is so hard for Team Underage to make any moves. They get the Ragnarok. Mid-gap is going to be the target, but his health is dropping low pretty quickly. Gets the kill, heals back up. The Lee Sin tries to go for him, but there's a shield and the Stand United. They will keep this Olaf alive. They kill the Lee Sin off. 𝗏𝗄𝗧 somehow walks away once more, but Team Underage gets some work done. Evolutions, recall cancel, as 𝗪𝗶𝗪𝗁 will now finally get to work on that OT.
Yeah, they don't really have to really take too many risks from here on. They knew that there's no Lee Sin and that Veigar has been chased away, probably hitting for a home run. So this one is going in the hands of Team Underage. So especially with the amount of Omni-Vamp that this Olaf could actually get, it could prove substantially if they could hit that 15-minute mark. It's still like what? Less than 10 minutes away. So by then, I expect this Olaf to really come recklessly swinging, and if they could get an Infernal, man, they gotta start sweating.
Yeah, I think that would be the ideal scenario for Team Underage. But you always have to have Echo the side lane, because you do have to deal with this Akshan that has the Hull Breaker. Thankfully, if Stand United is online, then I don't think Team Underage would be too worried. Though they have to always be careful of 𝗏𝗄𝗧 though. The longer the game goes, the more he skills up, the more stacks you get in that phenomenal Evo. And that's where problem is going to arise. He will start one-shotting 𝗏𝗁𝗍 when he's in that, budget 𝗏𝗁𝗍 when he's in that Ragnarok. As the rest of the team have fun, they're going to go for this tier 1 mid.
Yeah, and budget 𝗏𝗁𝗍. Quite a name, if you ask me. He's already getting there by himself, but this 1v1 coming up close and personal. Echo is going to be down right here. Only a hit of health left on the Akshan while they get the mid turret.
And that was with the exhaust that Echo had to expend and not get any kill. Again, another scenario where this Shen just is consistently struggling into this Akshan. Rift Herald will be dropped up top by this Lee Sin. The timer was ticking down. The next Rift Herald will be spawning pretty soon, but they will still be able to get some structural damage done regardless. So at the end of the day, it's value for Team F1. 𝗏𝗪𝗪 shows up, but it's not going to get mid-gap. There's no way this Lucian is just toying around with it.
Yeah, and I think that either ways, he will have to mind his own distance though. After all, it's not really he still has that exhaust with him. Same could be said about that Lucian, of course. So mid-gap, just knowing that he shouldn't really play too much with fire, especially when there's another Herald spawning up in 15. So from here on, we're just seeing a little bit more of a setup before they start to go all the way up for a war. But then again, take a look at that. Nobody really has vision being set up over the river, so I guess there is a slight risk at stake here if they were to actually go into committing. But here we go, just for fun, they're coming in.
And this Rift Herald is pretty much in the bag. Taken by the Akshan, he's gonna be consistently pressuring the side lane. Hullbreaker, now you give him the Rift Herald. It'll be pretty hard for the side of Team Underage to do much in these situations, especially when you have to worry about that constant split push. They did send 𝗏𝗪𝗪 down bot to act as a split pusher himself, but you gotta deal with this Lucian. Culling Unleashed, 𝗏𝗪𝗪 has to sidestep that, blazes in, gets exhausted. Vanguard's edge thrown out, exhaust used by both mid lane champions, but it ends up 𝗏𝗪𝗪. It will be the one that forced to flash away. He's trying to find a way back in, but unfortunately he's gonna get solo killed down bot as Team Have Fun consistently showing us that skill gap.
Yeah, it's him going all the way down there, and he's not even really having anything that he could possibly achieve. So there's no point ego challenging that Lucian. And just take a look at that. This Akshan free farming, free hitting turrets. Also, you're getting those numbers onto Echo. Eventually, they have to commit to something.
Yeah, and I think right now, there's nothing that the side lane, well, your Irelia and Shen are both losing. This Akshan, we haven't really seen him properly join the fight just yet, and that's the scary part. On the side of Team Have Fun, if this Akshan shows up, you not only have to deal with a very, very fat a Baron laner, you also have to deal with the threat that he revives his teammates.
Yeah, like he comes in swinging with the Avangerang, and yeah, you think that it's great that you get a quarter kill. How about I take you down? I'll bring everybody back.
Yeah, I have a quarter resurrect. So,
have you ever seen two sides of the team get a kill?
no, not really. Well,
I've seen a clip before.
YouTube clips, yes.
Yeah, that was like years back on PC. I wonder if it could be achieved here in Wild Rift. And imagine that last guy who got the pentakill was actually
the Akshan, and his whole team
Everybody comes back.
His team comes back. Like he dies to the ignite, but he gets the revive, and his team ends the game anyways. Inferno Drake up. See Team F1, they've already set up shop. 𝗪𝗶𝗳𝗁 needs to hold on to the Ragnarok. I think that's the trickiest part of being an Olaf in this scenario. You don't want to expand that Ragnarok because that is the green light. You gotta take out the ward as well. Twin Shadows drop, but in the meantime, they are forced to make a decision. This Shen,
Oh boy.
if he needs to help his team, he needs to join with the Stand United. But if he does so, well, I mean the turret is gonna go down regardless. And in fact, Echo is getting pushed so far back he cannot join his team.
Such a well-controlled split push when they're just letting them pick their own poison, and they are choosing to fight instead. This is not gonna make the cut though. Shen's gotta back away, chasing all the way to the base. There we go. Let's see if the 𝗪𝗋 gets anything done.
Not really, and even with the ignite delaying the healing, I mean the game is gonna end at this point, right? We did have a 1-for-1 trade at the Dragon Pit, but they did lose the Olaf. This Akshan is not going to leave this lane any soon. He does have a bit of that lifesteal with the Blade of the Rune King, and while all of that was happening with the Exhaust Evolution, somehow still survived. Vanguard is up. They want to go for 𝗏𝗏, but 𝗏𝗏 this time doesn't get the emote escape, but damage has been dealt to the base. And while all of that was happening, it was a 4v5 all along, and Team Underage came out on top.
Yeah, Team Underage really juggled that very well, and even up till now, that Shen has not really came in with the Stand United. Maybe you could have saved the life, but then again, I think that, his team's got it back. Now they're going in for Drake. But Roku's here, ASD, he's trying to move right in. Gets a little bit of vision on Devastated. But with the jump, can he possibly steal it away?
They gotta drag the dragon out a bit more. The Olaf finally shows up. 𝗪𝗋 will be tanked out by the dragon. It's gonna be really low. They secure it, and they get a kill on the Lee Sin, and that means Devastated can get some work done. But unfortunately, they will not be able to close the gap on this Lucian. They will get a bit of room to work with this mid-tier 1 though, and that's what Team Underage have been eyeing for so far. And even then, they were not able to get any structural damage done. That tier 1 stays up as this Akshan continues to split push down bot.
Yeah, you gotta say that Team Just For Fun, they just looking to be very overzealous. They've been trying all these sort of stances, like they have gotten away with a whole lot in the early game, but now it's the late game. This is that moment for that Olaf, the Irelia, and the Shen to shine. And by even more time, you're gonna see that Ezreal Arcane shifting away. So for now, he's only got 2 items though. And as an ADC, I think it's kind of concerning that you're having 8,000 gold at 14 minutes.
Tried to burst down the Ezreal, but unfortunately the damage just was not sufficient. We actually saw 𝗪𝗶𝗪𝗁, he was thinking of the Black Cleaver first item, but he sacked that, he stuck with the Phage, and he went straight for the Divine Sundra. What worries me right now is that as the later the game goes, the lower the efficiency of the Olaf is going to be, right? That Ragnarok will be his only saving grace. And so far, he hasn't been able to get too much done. There were moments of brilliance, but they haven't really solved all the issues. And that's where we see this Akshan continuing that split push with that Hullbreaker. And this Shen, he can't really deal with these waves.
Yeah, and so far, this is where they would at least find a way to congregate, at least halt out whatever wave that's going to be crashing into their turret range. So it's not going to be all too much of a hassle though, but take a look at that again. This is just that Akshan slowly harassing, easily juking out this Shen, and that Nami not even giving out that heal. He's just going to be waiting right there, and here comes 𝗪𝗋 onto the turret though. It's still going to do some chip damage, and they're going to lose this inhibitor. And what the rest of them are doing, they're just trying to hold back, and he might just be able to walk away with a double kill. Might even go in for the Nexus step, but he moves directly into the fountain.
Yeah, gives his life away. But while all of that was happening, Team have fun, they get the mid-turret, Ragnarok used, but he's gonna eat the Veigar out. And that's what we are worried about, right? That execution damage from that Veigar. The Glacier Fissure on top of Devastator, he eats that, goes down as the Resonant Strike will finish off the Ezreal. I think this is lights out for Team Underage. Their journey will probably be halted at top 3 at this point. They still have the bronze match to play later on, but in the series, Team Have Fun are just a stronger team overall.
Yeah, we can clearly see how they have been able to juggle with all their opponents out there, and not only that, you see them being dissected on every single lane. That it definitely doesn't seem to be fun on Underage's side because they have to deal with so much. But yeah, I felt like Echo, he was playing with fire a lot. Sure, he has that Sunfire kick thing going on for him, but yeah, that's not the way you really want to deal with Akshan's overall. Like, you need to maybe get that early Torn Mail if you want to reflect a little bit of damage.
Or get the Hullbreaker to match, right? That's
True.
kind of like the the last resort. Though I personally don't like the Hullbreaker on the Shen, but sometimes when it comes down to it, that was your best option just for the extra resistance. Because Akshan, I mean, he gets the Hullbreaker bonus, there's no way the Shen gets to deal with him. Now all 3 inhibitor turrets are down, and frankly speaking, Team Have Fun can just easily end the game, but they're here to have fun. Or they're the only one having fun, to be honest.
Yeah, for now, they're just chilling, like they don't really have to force anything. They know the waves are going to be moving in from all directions anyways, but here it comes.
I don't think Bengi can save. I don't think Bengi can be saved in time. They actually had to stand united though. Echo didn't use it, so Bengi died for nothing. And
I haven't seen the single stand united. Have you?
there was once.
Okay.
I think the dragon fight, that was the only one. Or the execute devastated. The final breath drawn by Team Underage. A double for Coffee. No Penta this time. The game is going to end before that happens. Team Have Fun spokes the slot into the grand finals.
There we go. Just a few more taps and they will make it all the way to the finals. Built for Work 2-0 clean sweep, taking down Team Underage. So I guess it's still a really good way to kick off our very first game here in the community clash. Husky, any thoughts and anything other than the Panther kill that was the highlight of breakfast for them?
Well, I think one very notable thing is that Team Have Fun. They obviously are just more skilled. We get to see this mechanic check. We get to see this more coordinated macro from the side of Team Have Fun. But at the same time, they are composed of ex-WCS players. So these guys know their stuff. Overall, it's just a very clean game. We saw the efforts from Team Underage. You know, they were trying to keep the game together. They had a very good team fight comp in game 1. They had this very early to mid game comp in game 2, but they just got out macro, they got out lane, and they were not really able to get that team going.
Yeah, I gotta say kudos to Budget Bengi. I think both games have played pretty well overall, and same goes to Devastated. We've seen those flashy area plays over on that Rift Herald side, and you know, this game went on to be pretty dead even in the early 6 minutes, and after that, I think that it was a few calls that have costed Team Underage, and overall, I still think that there is a journey ahead of them that they should continue to stick together and maybe work and craft out a draft that they feel a little bit more comfortable with, because I think it's trying to achieve multiple things, and at the end of it, we didn't really see it coming to fruition.
You know, we always talk about how if you have a Shen on your team, regardless of where you are on the map, you will always fight with a +1. But that game was one of the few games where even though Team Underage had a Shen, the Shen was never able to join the fight because of the Akshan. It was causing so much problem on their side lane with that Hullbreaker. So just kudos to Team Have Fun for doing such a great job. They have now locked in the slot in the finals for the Malaysia side of the qualifiers. In fact, if they are able to win the finals tomorrow, they will qualify for the grand final. They face off against the representative from Brunei, but that's the story for tomorrow. For now, Team F1 can take a break, but for Team Underage, they still have the bronze placement match later on. But before that, we still have another semi-finals between 𝗪𝗲 and 𝗪𝗲 coming up soon, which will happen after the break. So we will be right back. Do not go anywhere.
You know what?
The Marines have killed them before they walk in. Be your champion.
That is it. GG has been called. DMC is out.
Last year, we set the stage for the biggest esports tournament in Brunei. A $25,000 prize pool and a spot to show who was the best PUBG team in Brunei. But this year, we're about to go bigger. Welcome to the 𝗪𝗶𝗹𝗥 Clash Series Season 1, where you will be given the chance to start your legacy as the first ever ACS champion. You wanted more games? You've got more games. PUBG, Valorant, and Mobile Legends Bang Bang. With 3 titles, we're looking for the next kings and queens of Brunei esports. This is your chance to show the whole of Brunei, no, the whole of Borneo, who's the champion, and a stake at a $27,500 prize pool. So what are you waiting for? A registration fee? I'll see you on the battlefield.
Yes, I've been back at it. On this music like a bad habit. How you abuse it like a crack at it. I swoop the beat and take a crack at it.